Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. Kyle Gylsen filling in for Corey Tackman here today because it is an Amateur Hour Monday where we talk about the local town ball scene. And Kyle's wrapping up the regular season version of the Amateur Hour Town Ball Tour 2025. Kyle, we're going to get into all of that in just 1 second. But first, we need to talk about the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena because it's been hot outside. It's been warm. It's been smoky. It's been whatever. But you can come inside and hang out at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. There's 5 reasons why. You can call or order online for your Pizza Ranch favorites. It's easy peasy. You can grab it, bring it home, eat in the comfort of your own home. That is great. But you can also go to the Pizza Ranch, that's number 2, and dive into the fresh salad bar with all the toppings, including 2 kinds of soup, which is great as well. 3, hot, cheesy pizza, fresh breadsticks. I mean, what more do you need? Crispy, juicy chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, all the fixings. Kyle, what more do people need?
Oh, that sounds good. And yeah, like you said, it's hot out, so you don't want to run the oven in the house. It's hot out, so you don't want to stand out by the grill. Go to the ranch.
Go to the ranch. They got you taken care of. And then when you're done, spend a little bit more time in the friendly confines of the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. At the FunZone Arcade, nearly 30 exciting games for all ages to enjoy. I mean, look at that. You got the salad bar. You have the pizza. You have the dessert pizza. You got the big cookie there as well. And, of course, the FunZone Arcade in Wadena. All of this, you just got to order now, 218-631-2145, or go to pizzaranch.com or download the Pizza Ranch app, and then you can track your ranch rewards and do all of the great stuff that you can do with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. You can also just dine with them right there in downtown Wadena and check out the FunZone Arcade as well. It can all be found at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, one of the most popular places to be when the weather just isn't that perfect 75 and sunny. Even when it was on Friday, there was smoke everywhere. Just kind of go inside. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena has you covered.
You bet.
All right, Kyle, we got a lot of stuff to cover in terms of local amateur baseball. First, let's start out Amateur Hour Town Ball Tour 2025. You made a stop on Wednesday night in New York Mills for another close one in a little Lake and Pine high 10 matchup.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good games, one high-scoring games, so maybe not great if you're a fan of pitching duels, but most of the games we've done so far this summer have been fun to do from a broadcasting point of view. And, the Eagles, or the Millers, rather, coming off a 14-12 loss to Bluffton on the day before the 4th of July, hosted the Midway Snurdbirds, and it was a great game back and forth, and Millers come out with the win.
Yeah, and, obviously it was your second game there at Russ Jacobson Field, and for both games, obviously it's always a good vibe at the ballpark, a good kind of atmosphere for that community to take in some Millers baseball, right?
Yeah, the crowd wasn't as huge as it was the night before or the game before with the fireworks that evening. And then, of course, they had a lot of prize drawings and things going on as well. And it was just, kind of festive the day before the holiday. A lot of people didn't have to work the next day. So it was a great atmosphere on that July 3rd game, and still a pretty good turnout for a midweek game against the Snurdbirds, or between the Snurdbirds and the Millers.
Yeah, and that Midway crew, they also travel too. They've also a rich tradition, and that's kind of the fun part of the Town Ball Tour, right? Is to check in on these teams, and not just to do a game, which is always fun, but to kind of talk with some of these guys. And obviously, you've done a lot of Town Ball games in your day. That's a rich tradition, not only in New York Mills, but also in Midway.
Yeah, I mean, you and I started talking about this back in probably April or something like that. We wanted to do a few more games than we ended up doing during the regular season, but we had some good teams in the state or section tournament for baseball, and then state, and then all of the community celebrations come up and county fairs and all that other stuff. So scheduling wise, we weren't able to do as many, but it was fun to get out, and we tried to cover as many of the local teams as we could. We got a couple of them twice, and we're looking forward to continuing coverage once the region tournaments get started.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have some postseason stuff coming up, so be sure to keep following Amateur Hour, keep listening here on the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. All that stuff we're going to keep you covered with once the region playoffs get started. And Kyle, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, we're in it. And we got region playoffs coming, which is going to be fun. It's a new look this year, which we'll talk about kind of when that time comes. Obviously, with Bluffton moving to Class B, the Lake and Pine moving to a different region, the Resorters joining a region with the High 10. There's a lot of fluctuation this year, and it'll be really fun kind of to see these new look regions and how the kind of new rivalries that can come through with some of this stuff. We'll talk about that coming up later on here in the summer. But let's talk about the game that you had yesterday afternoon, kind of a late addition to our broadcast schedule. You said, hey, I think I could go do this one. And I was like, yeah, go do it. And it kind of forgot that Bluffton got the new look field. And not only that, they kind of minted a new name to honor their longtime manager.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of the whole thing. We talked about it a little bit with my schedule this week. I'm at the West Otter County Fair and the Hubbard County Fair, a couple of nights each for those. And so my schedule this week wasn't going to work out. And this weekend is the final weekend of the regular season. So I said, well, let's see if we can't get one more in before, my schedule kind of messes everything up in terms of Town Ball Tour 2025. And you were able to, arrange it that we could get over to Bluffton and do the game yesterday. And it was hot. It was sunny. It was a great summer day for amateur baseball. And it turned out that the Braves organization had got their new scoreboard in. That came in Monday or Tuesday. I think they got it set in. It's not wired up yet. It's not operational yet. But when we got there, there was a black tarp over the bottom half of the scoreboard, and overheard a couple of people chatting a little bit as I was getting set up. And I just said, is there something happening that I should know about? And they said, yep. They said prior to the start of the game, and we're not going to make a big deal out of it because we don't have a PA system or anything like that. So when the two managers come out to home plate to exchange their lineup cards and talk to the umpire, we're going to just kind of turn Terry Geyser out towards right field. And when they did that, they dropped the tarp and announced for all in Braves Nation that the baseball field in Bluffton will forever be known as Terry Geyser Field. So that was pretty special.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's been managing that club for decades and decades and decades. And it's really cool to get to see the culmination of that come together in getting the field named after him. And obviously, it's been a lot of work on that field in Bluffton. I know that those Braves have been putting a lot of time in over the last couple summers to really kind of just give the ballpark a facelift and keep up with everything and make sure kind of doing the standard maintenance you need to do with the baseball field. But kind of to cap it all off with that new scoreboard and now a new name, I'm sure it was a good vibe yesterday for the Braves.
It was a great vibe. And, the person that I was talking to before the game said, when we unveil Terry Geyser Field, Terry's going to cry. Because if anybody who knows Terry, he's a pretty emotional guy. And, he can get a little choked up just, talking about his players and things like that. And when they did that, you could see Terry kind of cover his eyes with his hands, and then it was getting handshakes and hugs and, high fives from his teammates and his family. Of course, the boys that played for him for years. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like you said, they put a lot of work into that. It looks great. Terry has spent a lot of time, not only as manager, but, head groundskeeper and, as a player, and just been involved with that organization for so long. And I know the last couple of years they've seeded and reseeded and overseeded the outfield and the infield. They planted some pine trees out beyond the left field fence a couple of years ago. They've added some screen around some of those trees to keep the deer away. And then, added that new scoreboard here this last week, and they say they're going to get it wired up this week and then hopefully have a official program to honor Terry and official dedication of the scoreboard and Terry Geyser Field, probably during Bluffton hometown days coming up in August.
All right, that's really, really cool. And on top of all of that great stuff for them, Bluffton got a victory.
We played a baseball game too. Yeah, it was after that, and I was talking with Justin Arndt and Reggie Kaiser of Sabika beforehand, and they were a little shorthanded. They had 9, and then Reggie was in the dugout and hoping not to play if he didn't have to. As a 48-year-old or whatever, and it's 88 degrees out in the sunshine. He was hoping to be able to stay in the dugout. And so he said, we're going to be a little shorthanded today. We're young. This game doesn't mean anything to us in terms of seating or anything like that. So he said, we've got some guys that can pitch, but they're also playing their Legion schedule yet. So I don't want to burn up any arms for Legion. So he says, we're going to be really careful on what we do. So I think they ended up using 3 pitchers during the day on Sunday, and they were competitive early, had chances, a couple of runners in scoring position in the early innings, just couldn't get the hit they needed to get a run across. And Bluffton was kind of the same way. They had runners in scoring position a couple of times in the first couple of innings, but finally able to have a good inning back in the bottom of the 3rd, put I think 4 up that inning, and then added another run later, and then a couple more later, and ended up winning 10-0 in 7 innings.
Yeah, exactly. And for that, like you said, kind of Sabika, they're getting their own thing set up. Bluffton's kind of going on their own path as well, getting ready for the Class B playoffs, and now you can kind of see everything start to take shape here. And like we said, that's the last regular season amateur hour we're covering. So Kyle, why don't we just take a quick look at some of the other things going on in amateur baseball across central Minnesota here. By the way, quick look at the league standings after the weekend. Bluffton 15-2 on the year, 13-1 in the high 10, pretty much clinch things there for another high 10 title for Bluffton. Over in the Lake and Pine, Nimrod and Midway both 1-0 in action. So according to the league standings page. So they are kind of going to need to battle it out here to see who takes home that Lake and Pine title on the season, or if they get a share of it, or all that stuff. But also Urbank clinching the Resorters League title as well. And we'll talk about that here coming up in a second. But on Friday, here's the games that took place. It was a 14-13 victory for Henning in 13 innings, Kyle, over Vergas.
Wow, that's
13 innings. That was day 1 of the Henning Festival. So it was at night after the parade, all that stuff. I don't know what got done sooner, a street dance or that ball game.
That's great. And a long night, but a fun night especially since it was part of the festival.
Exactly. Perham beats Deer Creek 8-4. A pair of Pirate home runs send them home happy. Midway hosting Nimrod in Monaga. That one got rained out. Makeup date is to be determined. Urbank getting a 20-5 victory over Sauk Centers. The Bomber Bats were active in that 15-run win over the Titans, and that officially gives them the Resorters League title in 2025. Nice. On Saturday, July 12th, Nimrod gets a 4-3 victory over Vergas. Perham beats Henning 6-2 in 10 innings, back-to-back games for Henning that go to extra innings. They couldn't quite get the win, though. Perham gets it out 6-2, kind of with the demo derby and Henning roaring in the background.
Sounds good.
Kensington at Sauk Center got postponed. Clarissa beat Dent 9-1. On Sunday, July 13th, obviously the 10-0 victory for Sabika in that one. And then Urbank blanking Henning 11-0 in 7 innings. Carter Simonson gets the win on the mound for Urbank, and kind of the Henning festivities capped off there with 3 games in Henning this weekend. That ball field sure was getting a lot of miles put on it as well. But that's kind of where things stand throughout the weekend in local amateur baseball, Kyle. And now we got one more weekend to play to kind of get everything officially official, and then we're running into the region playoffs. It's crazy to think about. It feels like we just got the season started.
And, technically we just did, but the other teams have been going for a couple of months now. But yeah, and we've, had a tradition of carrying a lot of the region games going back, way back into the days before cell phones and things like that. So we've done a nice job of doing that, and we hope to continue to do that and pick up some region games once we get along, because we've got, like you said, with Bluffton moving up to Class B, and the Lake and Pine getting moved to 4C, and the High 10 and Resorters now playing in 11C. Got a lot of new potential contests that we're going to be able to watch and follow.
Yeah, exactly. Detroit Lakes, Perham, Bluffton are all kind of going to be host sites in these playoffs. It's going to be a fun thing to look at once we get closer to that. So, Kyle, appreciate you hopping on the morning sports desk here this morning and talking about some town ball, talking about your games, and we'll let you rest up and then get ready to start banging out some playoff games. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Appreciate you having me on.
Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. We'll see you next time.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.